Hello, everyone. It's Carrie, and it's Fringe Fertility. I totally just recorded this whole episode and forgot to give you the most important information. So I'm coming on at the beginning to let you know we're talking about the Fertility Yoga Teacher Training, which is happening April 17th to 19th, 2026. It's a weekend, 35 continuing ed units for Yoga Alliance, and it's all live stream. It's totally online. And it's also recorded. So if you live in a weird, or maybe your time zone, not a weird time zone, but a different time zone, and you can't make the time work, you will have the recordings to do as well. So that's it. Now we're going to just go right into the episode. Thanks for tuning in. I'm so glad you're here. I'm going a little bit off my normal topic today because I wanted to let you know about something that is happening in the studio that is really special to me. Basically, I am doing a fertility yoga teacher training, which I have wanted to do for so many years. And I finally feel like I have the bandwidth to do it and to offer it. And I think we're also coming into a time where fertility yoga has become more mainstream. Like when I started, there were, a handful of us, maybe 3 or 4 of us in the US that were teaching fertility yoga. And now I just see more and more people offering fertility yoga, which tells us that there is a need for it, but it's still a new and upcoming little niche in the yoga world that needs informed and trained and compassionate teachers. So if you're listening to this and you're a yoga teacher, um, great. Maybe you want to come and join us. Or maybe if you are also not a yoga teacher, but you work in the fertility field, and you think that some of the things that you'll be learning in the training would be useful for what you offer people, you can still take the training as long as you don't actually like in words say, I teach fertility yoga or offer fertility yoga because you're not a yoga teacher. But you can absolutely use a lot of the topics that we talk about, the energetics, we talk about visualizations and meditation and things like this. This is something that you can absolutely add as well as just basic body mechanics and movement and how to embody what we desire, right? To help create a space where people feel safe to come and being in very different times and fertility journeys, but a place where people can gather and get support and move their bodies in a way that is supportive to fertility as well as keeping them safe because most people, when you walk into a yoga studio or you're a yoga teacher and somebody walks up to you and says, okay, I'm doing a stim cycle, I'm on day 4, blah 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 blah, like most yoga teachers won't even know what that means. And also prenatal yoga teachers and postnatal yoga teachers don't know how to work with women who are going through fertility obstacles or preconception health. Like they want to just be healthier and get in tune with their cycle, or they're coming off birth control. So, anyway, there's so much to be covered in this fertility yoga teacher training. Still listen because it might give you some insight into how I teach my yoga classes and why you might want to come to them. So after working for a decade in this space and going through my own fertility journey, people trying to conceive are underserved and overwhelmed. So they're running from therapist to acupuncturist to massage therapist to meditation class to support group and while managing all their medical appointments. And it's really exhausting. It's fragmented and it's not all that helpful. I'll be honest. Like if you're causing more stress by running around to all these appointments, like you think you're taking care of yourself, it's it's really not, right? We're causing more stress than we're relieving. So fertility yoga offers this wonderfully integrated support um, that just hits everything on all levels. The physical, so like the body and blood flow and that sort of thing, and hormonal support, as well as mental and emotional support and spiritual support as well, and energetic support, which if you listen to this podcast, it's one of the things that I think is often forgotten when we talk about fertility. So basically your 200-hour yoga didn't cover what fertility yoga teacher training is all about, and your 500-hour didn't either. Your prenatal didn't, and your postnatal didn't. So when we think that 1 in 6, although some sources say 1 in 5, are struggling with infertility in some shape or form, we can imagine that at least one person in your regular class, or depending on how big your class is, 2 or 3, are navigating fertility and they need specialized support. It's different. It's different than going to just a yoga class, right? There's things we need to avoid and there's things that we want to highlight. So whether, you're searching for fertility yoga teacher training specifically, or you are sort of just a yoga teacher going, hey, maybe this could be a cool thing. I want to tell you the 6 reasons. So here we go. These are the 6 reasons to pursue a fertility yoga teacher training. So here's the first. They're in forms of questions. So how do you keep students safe during IVF cycles? And this is probably one of the most important things that I talk about, and it is also, I believe, the fertility yoga I teach anyway, most people that are coming to me are doing some sort of IVF or reproductive therapy of some sort, IUIs, or they're working with a reproductive endocrinologist. Maybe they discovered that they have endometriosis or PCOS and doing surgeries and these sorts of things. So it's like this space that people are, I would say, fearful sometimes of coming or moving their bodies. So we want to create a safe place where we're like, no, you can come to yoga. You can do these things. You can maintain this practice while you are navigating all of this. And you don't have to think about, is this okay or is this not okay? So in the fertility training, we talk about IVF protocols and fertility treatments and those sorts of things. Um, and then you'll learn what poses to avoid and when to avoid them, how to modify for different hormonal medications, and what's safe during the 2-week wait, how to support students post retrieval and post transfer. And this is just a lovely way to be able to serve your students better. Then the next one is, how does cycle specific sequencing boost fertility? So you may have heard of cycle specific or cycle syncing. And this is also a big part of fertility yoga, is that we recognize that the body is moving through, if you're menstruating, a 28-day cycle ish, right? 26, 25 to 34, whatever, doesn't matter. Um, as well as, we're recognizing that these things, when we're going through different times of the cycle, different hormones are highlighted, therefore certain energies are going to be present. And then how do we sync or align with what is already happening in that natural rhythm of the body? And then when we're doing IVF, we're also looking at sort of the energies of which phase of the cycle they're in, and then how to reflect that in their practice. So you'll understand the why behind every modification. So making informed decisions based on reproductive physiology and not just following a script or here is a flow that you're going to do every single time. So this cycle specific approach really separates fertility yoga from a gentle yoga practice. And it also allows students to cultivate a relationship with their bodies and find their rhythm, which is often lost in this journey. So 3, what is the foundation of teaching fertility yoga? So as a fertility yoga teacher, you offer integrated support that replaces fragmented appointments. So you'll learn the 5 pillars of fertility yoga, which are the nervous system support, physical and physiological support, social support, energetic support, and spiritual support. And you'll master restorative yoga for fertility, slow flow sequences, meditation, and visualization. We practice, how do we create impactful visualization and meditation, as well as, of course, the cycle specific alignment, which these are all the foundations of fertility yoga. So it's not just an asana class, right? So then why are the energetics of fertility important to learn? And this is one of my favorite things to talk about because I think, as I said, we're missing in most yoga classes, even though they're given lip service, but this idea of energetic wellness or energetic health. And when we're talking about fertility, we're talking about balancing masculine and feminine energy, not gender, but just the qualities of feminine, the qualities of masculine, or the yin and the yang, the Shiva, Shakti, whatever you want to call it. So our Western society really dips heavily into the masculine, the doing, producing, the forcing, the controlling. But fertile energy is feminine energy. So we're receiving, we're cyclical, we're creating, we're nurturing, and we're allowing. So in the fertility yoga teacher training, you'll learn to work with the chakras. We're going to talk about the chakras and like why the root chakra is so important, as well as the sacral chakra, but all of them are. They're all important for fertility because we are a whole system. Um, so, how do we talk about this fertile feminine energy? How do we nurture this in our students? So, this is energetic work. I love it so much. I could talk about it forever. So, one other big part of the training is how do you hold space as a fertility yoga teacher for grief, loss, and all the emotions in between? And, this fertility journey isn't just about toxic positivity and just being hopeful and positive all the time, right? It's about holding everything. So, the grief and the joy, the disappointment and the sadness, the fear and the trust that we're putting out there. So it's a lot of emotion, especially when you're doing a live class where people are expressing that. And so, as a fertility yoga teacher, you need to be able to hold space for people without trying to fix everything and give people that container to open up about what's going on with them. And so that is a skill. And we're going to talk about that as well. And then finally, one of the things which I'm super excited because I have a friend coming to help me do this piece because it's not necessarily my forte in the marketing department, but how do you build a thriving fertility yoga business? I have done that myself over the years, but I'm not a social media person or sort of the TikTok girl. So I have a friend coming in, Jen Edmonds. You may know her, but she's really good at all of that sort of thing. So she's going to talk about that. How do you cultivate relationships with fertility clinics and reproductive endocrinologists and acupuncturists and therapists? And yeah, talking about marketing strategies as well, because I don't want to teach you all of this and then just leave you to go out into the world without any way to build on this referral system and get out there. Hey, did I spark an interest in you? I hope so. I think that fertility yoga is just untapped. And I think the more teachers that are informed and compassionate and really know what they're doing out there and can offer a great fertility yoga class, like we need more of this. We need this for this population of people who are trying to conceive and being bombarded with way too much information all the time. So, where can you go where you'll just be like, exhale, move my body, feel good in my body? And if you're listening and you want to do this, I would love to have you. The training, I forgot to say that, April 17th to 19th, 2026. If you're listening to this later, there might be another one. So go check the website and I'll put the links in the notes. And there's an early bird going on until March 20th. So it's EB75. You will get $75 off. And it's all online, it's totally live stream. Can't wait to get started. I can't wait to sort of open up this new world in what I offer this community and pass on all this information and knowledge that I have gained over the last 10 years. So don't miss out on that chance. And I hope you'll join me. So thanks for listening, and back to our regular programming in a couple weeks where I have some great guests coming on for you. Thanks for listening to today's episode of Fringe Fertility. Remember to hit the follow button so you know when the next episode is dropped. And head on over to fertilebodyyoga.com where you can learn more about upcoming yoga series and other holistic fertility programs and coaching that I offer. Until next time.